We're here at Smash Summit, Beyond the Summit's very first Smash event, and I'm sitting here with some of the talent for this event. We've got my man Toph here. Okay, say what's up, Toph.
What's up, everybody?
We got this microphone thing. We're gonna have to pass it along. So okay, so it's like a team sport here. We'll have to just sort of, get some synergy going on. Okay, I got a bunch of questions I'd like to ask you. I'm gonna pick one. Who are your role models, Toph? And you can have it. Like, I'll give it to you. I'll gift you the microphone.
Absolutely. Who are my role models? That's a really good one. I'm going to answer this in the context of Smash. I mean, I think there are obviously a lot of ways I could take this question. I'm going to answer in the context of Smash as a player, as a commentator, and also professionally, I guess. In the context of Smash, I definitely really look up to Silent Wolf. I think I've been mistaken. My Fox has been mistaken for his before at Kings of Cali. There was a moment where someone was watching me play and they thought it was Otto or something. But Otto, we go way back. I think I draw a lot from his style. I'm like a worse version of him, basically. But more than anything, I really respect his discipline and his. What I've noticed is where a lot of other people would complain about a matchup or something. He's really big on just pushing and figuring out a solution. He's had hand problems actually longer than most other. I know it's like a really big thing now where a lot of top players seem to have these hand problems, but he's actually had tendonitis or something for like a decade, and in spite of that, he's been pushing and getting better. And just finding ways around it. So I think he's just got a really admirable work ethic. In terms of commentary, man, I'm not gonna lie. I think you're a little bit of a inspiration. You and also some of the Street Fighter guys. I really respect Ultra David in particular. And professionally, man, honestly, my dad, in addition to my Smash life, my dad is, he always tells me stories. He was in the military for a really long time, and he's really, really well-traveled man. But one thing, he said that always stuck with me is when you do a job, you have to do it well, and you have to do such a good job that the people who hired you to do that job want you back. And that's kind of stuck with me is be so damn good at everything you do that they can't help but notice you, and I try to live day to day by that. I don't want people to feel bad working with me. So
that got kind of deep for a second, man. I don't know. I kind of got distracted and stopped thinking about the interview. I once read if you can do 9 hours worth of work in an 8-hour day, you'll always have a job. But then I'm also not so sure that's true in today's. But I can't even. I can't even go there, Toph. Yeah. Switching gears, what house would the Sorting Hat put you in?
Ooh, remind me what. So I mean, Gryffindor is kind of like bravery. Slytherin is what is it?
I'm already over it, dude. I'm already over it. You haven't internalized this. You haven't struggled over the Gryffindor.
I think Gryffindor, dude. I'm so NorCal at this point. I think it's I think NorCal is a Gryffindor region. I think I'm Gryffindor.
Yeah. All right. NorCal is a Gryffindor region. You've given me my soundbite, and therefore we can continue. Melee is a game that is so stupid difficult that you often can't tell if someone's good at it until they've been playing for over a year because there's that hump of technical skill. How do you identify early on if a player has skill? And inversely, what are the red flags you see that indicate that a person may not be cut out for high-level Melee?
Right. I think not cut out for high-level Melee is an interesting one. So talent is a really interesting topic. I think that people do tend to play up talent as this. I think people like to John, right? People like to make excuses, and I think people like to say you know what, I'm just not talented enough, or they like to hand wave their losses in one way or another. I mean, I'm very guilty of it. I think a lot of us are. Talent is, but the thing about talent is even Mewtwo King, who's obviously top 5 or top 6 in the world, he claims he has no talent, and he claims that everything he does is hard work. And I think what, not even necessarily from Smash, what I've come to realize is that talent is really just kind of passion but applied. So if you're really interested in something, you're going to be more motivated to work hard at it, and if you work really hard at it, you're going to be good at it if you practice the right way. So in Melee, I think the biggest humps people face are making excuses for themselves in terms of mentality, but also people get hung up on little aspects of the game they shouldn't be getting hung up on. Sometimes you get lost, you get carried away doing silly technical things, or you get carried away, there's so many ways to be good at Melee that like you can forget the little simple stuff. And I think that's what players like PPMD, for example, show us. Like you watch him play and he's just like so simple but so like deliberate. Yeah, there's a million little ways you can trip up in your path, but I think ultimately, like, if you're really dedicated to figuring out what you're doing wrong, everyone can continue to get better.
Your position right now on the Smash community as our token and front-running commentator, do you regret it a little bit? Do you kind of wish you got to just have your pursuit to be a good Smasher without having taken this massive detour into commentary dumb? And secondarily, do you think you can ever come back from it? Or
Yeah. I think my answer to this is going to be very different from, for example, Scar's, where I think Scar is at a place in his life where, like, Scar is at a place in his life, for example, and maybe I'm speaking for him. I know he wants to make a comeback at some point, but like life is so busy for him. He's got a wife and he's got, he spends many hours at the office that it's like hard for him. I think I'm still at a point in my life where I'm pretty good at managing, like compartmentalizing things to where I can, say that I still do want to get better. And to answer your question, yeah, I sometimes I do go to an event and I like very actively, I'm like, I don't really want to commentate here so much as I want to play. But for me specifically, I actually like pursue commentary at this point, maybe almost just because like when I do something, I'm competitive enough as a person to where I just want to get better and better at it. So right now I'm kind of focusing on both, but yeah, I would like to continue to get better as a player and, continue to like make splashes at tournaments and things like that.
what has the interaction been like between the Smash elite, right? Because that's what we all want to know is like what's going on in the house and how is everyone treating each other? How has it been? And more interestingly, how would it be different if Leffen and or Hungrybox were here in the mix?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question because Leffen and Hungrybox definitely two of like the most, especially I guess Leffen, like he's such a heel in our community. And Hungrybox also like in his own way, he kind of like garners like vitriol, more almost if anything sometimes through his play, I guess, like like when the crowd was booing him at Evo because he was camping or something. But I think I think they definitely bring this element of drama that that's interesting to watch, right? And obviously they would just change the competition because they're both so good. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be a very different Smash Summit, and I think beyond the summit, if they host another Smash event, I think it would be super sick to have them here, because as we've seen, it's like such close quarters, right? We're all just like hanging out and playing friendlies, and yeah, having them in that kind of environment would be interesting.
Who is going to be invited to next year's Smash Summit that isn't even here today in the house?
Silent Wolf.
Silent Wolf, yes. If Silent, I think Silent Wolf. I was gonna say, well, first of all, I mean, obviously Leffen and Hungrybox, I think, right?
Well, yeah, don't count.
Front runner, right? Yeah. Silent Wolf, I know he was busy with school, but I mean, he's been doing really, really like superbly, consistently well at tournaments lately. I think HCC he got third. That was the last tournament he was at. He beat Mewtwo King and and Drug Fox and Shroomed, who were like two, obviously two of them are here, and Drug Fox was like one of the favorites to make it in. So him, and I think if Hacks Money is back in form, I think he's also obviously like a really colorful personality. If you haven't seen his Twitter, just a really funny guy all around, and very explosive play. So if he's able to make his return by then, I think he's a shoo-in.
Nice. We're almost done. Okay. We're going to get you back out there. I know you've got a lot of work to do. Scar and Toph show tonight. Sure, Toph and Scar show tonight. Yep. I wonder, there's a cataclysmic apocalyptic event. And every Melee disc in existence breaks, including the coding. Dan Salvato can't fix it.
Oh my god.
Do you play Smash 4 or do you just move on with your life?
For me personally, I mean the answer for me is gonna vary at the answer to the community. I think for me personally, I've been very interested in like Street Fighter and other 2D fighters, and I actually used to play them. I used to play Guilty Gear before I played Melee. I mean, not at a high level or anything, but I think I might explore those games. I'm friends with members of those communities. I'm assuming that like reprogram Melee or whatever is off the table. Obviously, that's the dream. But I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of really good video games out there. Smash 4, yeah, I think a lot of people would gravitate towards it. But definitely like when you get down to it, I mean, I think a lot of the things from a gameplay perspective, like from like a what do you call it? Like a brand perspective, like Smash 4 and Melee are very close because they're both Nintendo. They both feature the same cast of characters. But from a gameplay perspective, I do see a lot of things in Melee and Smash 4 that people would be drawn to one of these games for one thing, but not necessarily the other for the. And you see this all the time, right? I mean, like Trihex, who runs Yoshi's Island. There's a reason he runs Yoshi's Island and not say Yoshi's Story, which by the way, Dan Salvato, shout outs. Because he's a Yoshi Story runner, but yeah, like it's hard to say. I mean, even between games like StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2, like you see, people switching genres and things like that. So, yeah, but me personally, I would try 2D fighters. That's my go-to. So,
Nice. Okay, so before we get you back out there, we're gonna do a speed run. Okay, I'm gonna throw a series of questions at you, and you just fire back the answer.
Okay.
All right, I'll hold on to the mic.
Okay.
Speed run with Toph. Here we go. Mountains or ocean?
Mountains.
GG's or pop off?
Pop off.
Frozen or Tangled?
Frozen.
What year was Melee released?
2001.
Who was your first main?
Fox.
Best smasher of all time?
Armada.
Who's gonna win this weekend?
Armada.
Honesty. At least he was honest, right? Okay. Thank you, fans. Thank you, Toph.